Breaking news tonight, the deadly explosion at a Dallas apartment complex. Right now, first responders searching for any possible victims. The building erupting into a massive ball of fire, flames engulfing the whole building. Firefighters searching through the mangled wreckage. Multiple people are dead. Neighbors saying their homes shook from the blast. What we just learned about what caused it. Is an Iran deal ready to be signed? Our new reporting on a possible breakthrough and what's in it. Why hasn't President Trump signed it? New revelations from First Lady Jill Biden saying she thought Joe Biden was drugged during his 2024 debate performance, and her response when asked if she noticed any cognitive decline. One-on-one with Spencer Pratt, the reality star trying to become the mayor of L.A., why he says he's ready to lead the nation's second largest city, and why he's not looking for an endorsement from President Trump. The stunning upset at the French Open did the grueling Heat throw the tournament favorite far off his game. And the never-before-seen images of the Holocaust, newly discovered photos, offering a new glimpse into history, what they show. Plus, Trump bucks. We'll show you the new proposal for a $250 bill with the president's face on it. Top story starts right now. And good evening. We are following breaking news. Multiple people have been killed after a fiery explosion at a Dallas apartment complex. Video shows the entire building erupting into a wall of fire after a natural gas explosion rocked the Oak Cliff area. At this hour, fire officials say there's an unknown number of fatalities and at least 4 people have been hospitalized. Footage from above captures just how fast-moving this blaze was. Sources telling our Dallas-Fort Worth station that approximately 23 people live in the building and 12 have been accounted for, but those numbers could change at any moment. More angles show the sheer size of those flames and the serious damage caused. Nearly 100 firefighters responding to this 5-alarm fire, racing against time to find the victims. Right now, the entire neighborhood is on alert, and our Candace Sweat from our NBC Dallas-Fort Worth station on the scene, she leads us off.
Oh, my God.
Tonight, chaos in Dallas. A massive plume of dark smoke filling the sky after officials say an explosion caused a fire at this apartment building.
2-story apartment complex, natural gas explosion, multiple victims.
Flames completely engulfing the structure. Police seen here blocking streets and turning people away as they battled the inferno.
But you can see that there is really nothing left.
People nearby describing what they heard.
We were inside and all we heard was like a boom.
Dozens of firefighters sifting through massive piles of rubble.
We have 4 people transported to the hospital in unknown conditions at this time.
Residents of the apartment complex were devastated when they saw what was left of their home. NBC station KXAS confirming a contractor was working at the building on Thursday and struck a gas line. It isn't clear what type of work was being done at the time. A community anxiously waiting for answers as the investigation continues.
I want to encourage our entire city, this entire state, the entire nation to come together and pray for all the people, all the families who are affected by this tragedy we are experiencing here today in our city.
Candace Sweat joins us now live from Dallas. Candace, we can see that scene there behind you, and there's still a concern. When you go through the numbers, there could be more people missing?
Absolutely, and this is an ever-evolving situation, but we do know that there are potentially even more people unaccounted for. So this is going to be an incredibly long night here in Dallas, but you can see behind me the fire trucks, the first responders still here on the scene. We've seen the Dallas police chief inside of the reunification center. We've also seen council members and other city leaders as well. You can see the fire trucks here. This is an incredibly massive scene. This is in the southern Dallas County area, the Bishop Arts area. It's known as an entertainment district here in Dallas, and several people visit. They come to listen to live music, visit the restaurants and bars around here. We've seen here at the reunification center emotional people coming here emotional, trying to get information about people that they know, a woman who's trying to get information about her pet as well. But again, by the looks of things, we know that this is going to be an incredibly long night for the city of Dallas. Tom, back to you.
Okay, Candace Sweat, thank you. Our other big story we're following tonight, the potential breakthrough in the war with Iran. A source telling NBC News there is a deal that Iran and the U.S. have agreed to, but both sides are still launching attacks. Richard Engel reports.
A possible breakthrough tonight to end the war that has killed more than 3,000 Iranians, 13 Americans, and sent oil prices soaring. A senior Arab official directly involved in ceasefire talks tells NBC News tonight negotiators from both Iran and the U.S. have agreed to a deal and are now awaiting final sign-off from Iran's top leaders and President Trump.
You have a very short window for doing anything having to do with war. But I don't view that window. I view it, I have to do what's right.
The deal, the official said, was reached 3 days ago in Doha, Qatar, but has yet to become official. According to a draft released by Iranian media, the agreement would open the Strait of Hormuz and extend the ceasefire for 60 days. And then negotiations would begin over Iran's nuclear program to reach a long-term agreement. But time isn't helping. The deal nearly broke down twice this week, with Iran and the U.S. exchanging fire near the Strait of Hormuz. The latest clashes coming early this morning when Iran launched a ballistic missile at a U.S. base in Kuwait in response, Iran says, to an American strike on a command and control site in southern Iran. Kuwaiti air defenses shot down the incoming missile before it reached the American base. But the death toll is rising in Lebanon. Israel today carried out major strikes against Hezbollah in Beirut and Tyre. The Israeli military has ordered Lebanese civilians to evacuate from 17% of the country, declaring it a military zone.
Richard Engel joins us tonight live from Jerusalem. So, Richard, here's the question. In your report, you said that Iran's top leaders have to sign off on this deal, but there's so much uncertainty. So many leaders were killed in this war. Do we know who that is from Iran?
We don't exactly know. There's some uncertainty about it. In theory, it's the new supreme leader, but he hasn't been seen in public since this war began, since the United States and Israel killed his father, the previous supreme leader. Iran's Speaker of Parliament has been playing a key role in the negotiations, and the Revolutionary Guard are calling a lot of the shots at Iran. So it would likely be a combination of all three. Tom?
All right, Richard Engel for us tonight. Richard, we thank you. Now to new revelations from former First Lady Jill Biden, writing in her new book that she thought President Biden may have been drugged during that disastrous debate performance. Her story now very different from what she was telling the public at the time. NBC's Hallie Jackson has this one.
Stunning new revelations tonight from the former First Lady in her new book after her husband's disastrous debate performance in 2024. Jill Biden wondering, has he been drugged? According to excerpts first published by The Atlantic and confirmed by NBC News. The former First Lady writing she wished she had thought to ask for a blood test after the debate.
Did you ever see signs that he was falling into cognitive decline?
No.
I mean, people were saying he wasn't the same Joe Biden.
Well, I don't think that's true. He was the essence of the same Joe Biden, but yeah, he was slowing down.
Her new comments reigniting a reckoning inside the Democratic Party over questions of transparency and former President Biden's fitness for office.
With the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
As Jill Biden walked with the former president off the stage, she writes, he whispered to her, I really effed up, didn't I? Yes, you did, she whispered back.
I had never, ever seen Joe like that before or since.
What happened?
I don't know what happened. I mean, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And it scared me to death.
But that's not how she reacted publicly that night. Instead, before accompanying him to a Waffle House, praising her husband's performance.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts.
Others around him at the time also insisting that night was a one-off.
You never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him? It was a bad debate. People have bad debates.
Even with new questions now, Democrats are largely looking ahead with only brief mentions of that debate in their controversial election autopsy report. Tom?
Hallie Jackson for us. Hallie, great to see you. Sticking with politics, and tonight the Trump administration facing new backlash from Democrats after the Justice Department launched a new criminal probe related to writer E. Jean Carroll's civil lawsuits against the president. Gabe Gutierrez has more.
Tonight, the Trump administration's new move against one of the president's political enemies. The Justice Department opening an investigation involving E. Jean Carroll's civil lawsuits over sexual abuse allegations against the president, according to two sources familiar with the matter. But the current probe is not focused on Carroll. Instead, it's on a trust founded by billionaire Reid Hoffman, whose nonprofit helped pay for some of Carroll's legal costs for her lawsuits against the president, the sources tell NBC News. Hoffman, the co-founder of LinkedIn, is a major Democratic donor and an outspoken critic of President Trump. In 2023, Carroll was awarded $5 million in damages after a jury found Trump liable for sexually abusing her in a New York department store in the mid-1990s.
This is not about the money. This is about getting my name back.
In 2024, a jury found that Trump had to pay Carroll more than $83 million in damages for repeated defamation.
I don't even know who this woman is.
The president has repeatedly denied Carroll's allegations. A federal appeals court decided that President Trump did not need to pay the money until the Supreme Court weighs in. The new move follows the DOJ's targeting of other Trump critics, including former FBI Director James Comey, New York Attorney General Letitia James, and California Senator Adam Schiff, who's calling it a vile attack on the rule of law and a disgusting insult to victims everywhere.
We could not reach Hoffman for comment. A source familiar with the investigation tells NBC News Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has recused himself because he was President Trump's personal lawyer. And Tom, there's another headline from the White House today, the potential for a $250 bill with President Trump's picture on it. The Washington Post just published a mock-up of the $250 bill aimed at honoring America's 250th birthday. The Treasury Department says it is preparing for that possibility, but under current law, no living person can appear on U.S. currency, so any changes would take an act of Congress. Tom?
Okay, Gabe, we thank you. Still ahead on Top Story, my one-on-one with L.A. Mayor hopeful Spencer Pratt. The reality TV star turned political candidate on his policies and the controversy surrounding his campaign, plus the major upset at the French Open. The tournament favorite struck down in the second round. So what went wrong? We are back now and just 5 days away from the L.A. mayoral election, a race that has captured national headlines. The incumbent mayor, Karen Bass, still leading in the latest polls. But you can see the other candidates, including Spencer Pratt there, around second place, almost tied for second, according to this poll. So the top two vote getters, if nobody gets a majority, will move forward, including possibly Pratt, an outsider who says he was inspired to run for office after losing his home in the 2025 wildfires. And his campaign has been picking up steam. I sat down with Pratt earlier today to talk about his plans for the city, where he was born and raised. Here's a portion of that conversation.
Let's get right into it. You're running against several people, including obviously the incumbent mayor, Karen Bass. And recently she said this. She said, Spencer is just mad that his supporters are AI cartoons and we have real Angelinos. It sounds like she's not taking you seriously.
Do you know what that was a response to? We should tell the viewers. Yes. That was me calling her out for the misdemeanor because she's now facing 6 years in prison for electioneering because she hosted an event which is illegal in the state and the city in front of the ballot box.
You're accusing her of that, right?
No, it's on video.
Okay.
It's with the LAPD now. So it's not an accusation. She filmed herself because she's so used to not actually caring about the law that she filmed her own crime. So that is a response to me saying...
And what did you think about that, though? It sounds like she's not taking you seriously.
She doesn't need to take me serious. It's the LAPD that has the case. I'm not. So good luck, ma'am.
Right. But do you think she's taking you seriously in your support?
I do think she's taking me very serious. I think that was a silly little response. And again, I don't make any AI. All of my ads are made by a director. I shot on a Red camera. I don't have one AI ad.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, people are going to be watching this, and this is a national audience, right? And they may be asking themselves, what is Spencer Pratt from the Hills doing running for the mayor of Los Angeles? How is he qualified? What would you say?
Well, thankfully, Mayor Bass's failure was a national story when she let 7,000 homes burn to the ground when she was out of the country in Ghana, and 12 people, my neighbors, burned alive. And when nobody ran against her, I had to step up so that she didn't just go in to get 4 more years after being an utter failure for Los Angeles. So I think the national story is actually why I'm surging across the country, because they say finally someone is stepping up against these politicians that can burn your whole town down, let your tax money all go into increasing drug addicts in front of the kids at the park, or moms going to school with their kids. Enough is enough.
You know this. Your persona is a reality star villain. It's always been all about Spencer, at least in front of the cameras. So how do you convince people that you really care about your neighbors? You care about other people. You just don't care about yourself. Because the last decade, more than that, it's been all about Spencer.
Well, technically, it's been about my wife. Most of my, I was always fighting for my wife, who I'm now almost 20 years happily ever after, or my kids. I was just doing that to make money to pay for my family. But for these people, thankfully, I'm the look around candidate. I just say, look around, use your own eyes. Do you see what I'm talking about? They don't need to worry about what I was before my house burned down and before I got in the race, because because they look around. They see what I'm running on. I'm running on making the streets safe. I'm running on actually getting the drug addicts dying on the sidewalk 7 a day that our councilwoman and our mayor, who have been in charge of that for a combined 10 years almost now, they're in charge of that. I'm saying, you're voting for me as a mandated change. So I don't need to convince anybody about my past. I'm living in the present, and I'm speaking about what everyone sees with their own eyes. I don't need to convince any of my voters, because I'm telling them exactly what we all see together.
Yeah, but you need a majority of voters eventually, right? After June 2nd, you're going to have to win a majority of those votes. What about people that might say, is this just about self-promotion? Is this just about to get your brand? And man, your brand is hot right now. It's probably hotter than ever right now. How do you convince those people that you say, no, I really want this job. I want to change the city?
Yeah, let's rewind. Everything I've ever worked for burned in my house. Everything my parents ever worked for burned in their house. I got on this mission. It was never to run for mayor. I started this to expose the corruption and the negligence of our city leaders. And when I got to the farthest distance I could, where I proved they were obstructing justice, altering after-action reports after the fire, and there was nothing more they could do, that's when I organically got in the race, because no one else was going to run. I was never going to be the mayor, but nobody was going to run against her that could beat her. I had to step into this. And again, running for mayor is not fun, let's be clear. I have to have 24-hour security with the amount of death threats. My kid now has to have a security next to him when he goes in the ocean, because psychos come to the beach to... This is not like, oh, I get to be on a new show. I'm like, oh, I'm Tom Cruise. I'm in Top Gun 3 with Miles Teller. This is not fun, fighting DSA socialists in the city of LA. So anybody that really is paying attention, politics is not fun. And now I'm deep in politics, fighting a machine that is against the truth, a machine that is against stopping somebody exposing $24+ billion of cartel-level money laundering. I promise you, it's way more fun when I had my house and I was feeding hummingbirds and selling healing crystals. I would like that life back, but I can't get that life back.
And I want to talk about the crystals. So you've made the case why Karen Bass should lose. What's the case why Spencer Pratt should win?
There's no case, it's a fact. Because we need change in LA. We can't do 4 more years of Karen Bass. There won't be in LA. We lose 50,000 people last year. Over 100 businesses closed. I meet with people now that have a lot of investment in LA. If Karen Bass were to get reelected, they're all leaving. They're cutting their losses. LA will not.
Yeah, but what's Spencer Pratt going to do? Somebody else could do that too.
Who?
Somebody else could win. No, I'm asking you.
Who? It's right now in the polls, it's Spencer Pratt or Karen Bass. So we don't get to play imaginary savior coming in. You're either stuck with Karen Bass destroying LA, or you have a new candidate who's saying, we're stopping this direction of the city. We aren't doing this anymore. People, again, are voting for me because I'm the mandate in change. That's why they're voting for me. Not because I'm Spencer Pratt, not because of what I did 20 years ago, not what I did 2 years ago. It's because what I'm saying right now, no more. Stop this.
Governor Gavin Newsom just endorsed Karen Bass today, saying, quote, the work Karen Bass is doing in LA is making our entire state stronger, with an 18% decline in homelessness, while it grew nationally, historic drops in violent crime, boosting film production in LA, and protecting our communities against ICE. She has my full support for re-election. Do you think that endorsement is going to help Karen Bass?
I think that endorsement, these two are co-conspirators. They're criminal partners in the negligence that led to 7,000 houses burning down.
You think Governor Gavin Newsom's a criminal?
In my opinion, it's criminal negligence when you fail your taxpayers and they burn alive because of choices you made with your state park that you're responsible from. Same with Mayor Karen Bass. Again, it's my opinion. I believe if you let people burn alive because of your negligence, that becomes criminal negligence. So, again, of course he's endorsing her. They're both responsible for this. And let's talk about that homeless number. That is the most made-up number in the history of California, and he makes up a lot of numbers. The homelessness, from when it was actually started tracking with Karen Bass, has actually increased. She's talking about last year, if that's a real number, but it's increased since she got in. Not to mention, you know how they count? They drive around one night of the year and they go 1, 2, 3. Maybe there's somebody in the sewer. Oh, we can't look in that tent. It's the most. Even the Rand Corporation says that number is 30% low, and I would say the Rand Corporation number is low. And then what else was that
Crime
she
rates.
did? Crime rates.
Crime rates here. The LA Police Department crime. No, you looked at this.
I don't need to look at anything because I live in LA.
Says crime's down. A lot of violent crimes, including homicides.
I'll tell you. Homicides are down across the country since COVID. That's not because of Karen Bass. That's a national trend. But ready for this?
Even from last year, but yeah.
Mayor Bass won't acknowledge that the 42,000 people, she says 42,000. I say there's 70,000 naked drug addicts shooting up, smoking fentanyl, defecating on the street, peeing on the street. These are all crimes.
You've said that you want to move the homeless to a treatment facility built on federal land. You recently said this. Have you talked to the Trump administration about this?
No, I've never talked to President Trump.
So what is the federal land? What would that be?
Because I know the federal government will want to partner to get these addicts the treatment and to have the money that's being laundered through the NGOs stop. And they will know that these are results where it's going to be mandatory treatment. So, of course, the federal government would want to partner to get these 42,000 plus.
So what would that be? It'd be like a compound? It would be like...
I don't like the word compound.
Okay.
I like campus.
Okay.
Something beautiful. I went to Washington. I met with all the people that build the prefabricated homes. It's actually cheaper to build an entire city of prefabricated homes with treatment facilities and medical than just laundering money into buildings in LA that are empty.
Does LA pay for it?
I have plenty of very successful philanthropic billionaires that I've met with that would love to invest in this. Not to mention,
invest or donate.
It's the same thing. It's an investment.
Not really. Donate. You don't expect to get it back.
It's an investment into human beings.
Okay.
You know, they're investing to save
So
lives.
these billionaires that you've talked to would pledge money to build this campus
100%,
on federal land.
100%. Not to mention, you're forgetting that we've already spent $24 billion of tax money to increase homelessness. So I could take a lot less of that to solve this crisis, this drug addiction, mental crisis. It's not a homelessness problem, it's a drug addiction problem. And the way you treat drug addicts is you get them mandatory help with doctors and plans. You don't just give them needles. Our tax money right now, we are giving them needles at MacArthur Park. That's not how you get somebody in a bed. That's how you get somebody in a grave. These people are overdosing daily, 7 a day. So my plan actually is the one with the heart and compassion. And of course, the media is going to be there all day long to see what's Spencer doing. I'm going to invite everybody. Come look how incredible and beautiful this facility is.
And we'll also see if the billionaires donate that money as well. What do you think about the police chief? Would he stay in that job under you?
I'm going to change the entire culture of the LAPD.
You would fire him. He needs to go.
We'll look at for sure the fire chief is gone. The LAPD chief, probably gone. A lot of the people below the chief, probably gone. The culture of LAPD needs to change. There's 1,000 officers that I know of right now that shouldn't be behind desks doing paperwork, that should be on the streets patrolling. So we're going to allocate the resources we have to making the streets safer immediately right when I get in.
You're an outsider. Politics is not your forte. You're in it now. You got to work with the city council. Like, let's be real here, right? You know you have to work with the city council. How are they going to love Spencer Pratt? Why would they want to work with Mayor Pratt?
Yeah, again, I don't work for the city council. I work for the constituents, the community.
But you got to work with them,
Please.
Yeah.
The community leaders who I meet with, they do not have a voice with their city council member. They don't have a voice with their mayor. My job as mayor is to be the voice of the communities. And if they're not listening to their constituents, not only are they not going to get reelected, but they're going to have a really hard time dealing in their community when they have the backing of the mayor and then the whole community. So, again...
But are you going to look to bulldoze, or are you looking to build bridges with the city council?
Again, I'm going to listen to the communities and who put these people in office and who put me in office. And what they want, I'm going to execute.
What do you think it should be? You think it should be building bridges or bulldozing? What do you think?
Again, what the communities need.
But you're talking to them. You're out there on the campaign trail. What are they telling you?
They're not being heard.
Okay.
So I will make sure they're heard. And I have a feeling their message, which is they want things to feel safe and clean again. If these city council members have a problem with that, then it's a bulldozer.
Mm-hmm. Everything, as you may or may not know in politics these days, is seen through the prism of President Donald Trump. Do you think President Trump is a good president?
Again, the only prism I see anything is what I live. My town burning down is what got me in the race. I'm in a local race. The president has nothing to do with why my streets have naked drug addicts. My streets don't have lights in the poles. My streets have potholes all over. My town burned down. My race is a local race. I don't care what's going on in the national politics in other states. I am running for a local position, so
right. But you need to have a relationship with the federal government. You just said 2 minutes ago you were going to move homeless to the federal land, so you got to have a relationship with the federal government. So what is your take on President Trump? You're going to host the Olympics in 2 years. You're going to be the mayor of that city, maybe. What's your relationship going to be like with President Trump?
I'm going to have a relationship with two presidents, and they're going to be the same. I'm going to work with the president the same way I'm going to work with the city council members, or my state reps, or the lieutenant governor, or the new governor. I'm going to work with whoever I need to work with to execute the best for Angelenos, period.
Do you want his endorsement?
I don't need anyone's endorsement but mothers. That's who's getting me elected. People keep forgetting it's Democratic moms that do not feel safe that are putting me in office in 5 days.
Can you explain to me something? Because you're not afraid of anything. You're not afraid of giving your opinion on anything, but you won't give me an opinion on President Trump. And I get it that his endorsement, his blessing may not be good for you. It likely isn't good for you in L.A.
That's your
But
opinion.
if you're fearless, what do you think of President Trump? You're a Republican, right?
Again. This right here, what you're doing.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
This conversation is what's destroyed local elections. People don't care in LA. They want to feel safe. They don't want to step in human poop. I don't need to have personal opinions about anybody that doesn't affect them stepping in human poop. It's not being scared. I'm just not falling in for this tribal politics back and forth. It's local election. I'm not running for president, so it doesn't matter my opinion on any presidents.
Okay. You've been sort of very upfront about your past and reality TV. You've always put it all out there. There was an article that I read, and I think you wrote about this too, about how you blew through $10 million earlier in your life. And you said it's really easy to spend millions of dollars if you're not careful, if you're not thinking it's easy to make millions of dollars. The money was just coming so fast, so easy. My ego led me to believe that. You ended up spending $30,000 on shopping sprees, $4,000 on bottles of wine, $15,000 a night on bodyguards, and a crystal collection worth $1 million.
Probably way more than $1 million. It went up in
worth more than $1 million.
Oh yeah.
So, and you blew through it. You ended up living.
Blues are,
And you ended up living at your parents' house, right, rent free, a place they had. You had to move.
Yeah.
What did you learn from that?
Well, first off, I was 23 years old. I'm now 42.
Yeah.
What did Mayor Bass learn for blowing through $400 million of our tax money last year with Inside Safe to allegedly house 1,400 people? So if we're going to talk about spending habits, mine were from 20 years ago. Hers were last year.
But I want to ask you about that. I mean, what did you learn from losing all that money?
I would never
But what did you
money.
learn from it, though?
Again, I was 23.
Yeah. You didn't learn anything from losing $10 million?
And I didn't lose it. I spent
you spent it. Okay, yeah.
There's a big difference.
No, I get it. But did you that experience, like, did it, I don't know, did it open your eyes to anything? Sometimes experiences like that you would learn. I just want to know, like, if you learn from setbacks.
It wasn't a setback.
It wasn't?
No.
So losing your money and having to live in the place your parents had.
Again, let's be clear. Every single year since then, I've made nearly $1 million in reality.
Okay.
I was never, any stories about, oh, he was bankrupt. I sold that story to In Touch. People forget everything in Hollywood.
Explain this.
Everything about me was a paid story, cover story. It's manipulation. It's entertainment.
So why should people believe you now? If back then you were selling stories, I'm just asking you. I mean,
they don't need to believe me. Like I said, let's rewind.
Yeah.
I am the look around candidate. Everything I'm saying, they live. That's why I'm surging. No matter what anybody tries to argue, I am the one saying no more of this. It's not what I spent my money on when I was 23 that I worked for by myself, that I got, not taxpayer money. We're living in reality right now. And I'm the only one that's a candidate in reality. So again, these people have spent billions of our money. What do they have to say for it? I would love to watch you ask Mayor Bass. Mayor Bass, you wasted $400 million. What do you have to say? I will hope you do that.
I've asked her a lot of tough questions. Don't worry about that.
I haven't seen that
Trust
question.
me. No,
I watch all our clips. You've never asked that.
Talk to me about crystals. What is the deal with crystals? Do you believe they have powers? I know nothing about crystals, so tell me about it.
Do you believe the ocean has powers? Do you believe waterfalls have it? Do you believe hummingbirds have power? I believe anything God put on this earth has energy, and I respect the earth and the powers of God. And so I don't worship crystals. I think they're beautiful. The ones I collected all went up in value before Mayor Bass let them burn to the ground. They were investments. It was a museum-grade collection. When I went to heaven, they would be in a museum. The Pratt family collection at the Natural History Museum. These were
because of what you've collected.
These were specimens. These are not with respect to the farmer's market. These are not, what you're getting when you get your avocados.
Yeah.
These are.
How would you describe? Do you think they have special powers, or you just think they're nice to look at? They're good to collect. Like, how do you explain them?
Okay, this watch right here has quartz in it, and it has energy. It's moving. Power. That's as much energy as I know. I'm not.
Okay.
God didn't tell me the details, but I think stones and the earth grounding as much energy as taking off your shoes and going and hugging a tree.
Yeah.
So, which I think has power.
You know, being a mayor is a full-time job. You're a family man with children. A lot of your life in reality TV, as you mentioned, was you and your wife. I think it was branded Spidey at one point. You guys were very, very big. You guys have always been sort of together. Is she into you running this race? Is she somebody who likes politics? Some people have said she's not out there as much on the trail. Is that like a safety thing? How would you explain that?
Yeah, my wife is very in with her faith. So if it's God's plan, I'm going to be the mayor. It's God's plan, and she supports that as a miracle. If it's not, she supports that. She stands behind me. But does
she like the whole campaigning thing? Does she want to get out there? Is she kind of what's her take on it?
She's a mom. She's focusing on making sure our kids are safe and fed and go to school.
She understands why you want to run. She's behind you on that one.
Her life burned down as well. Yeah.
I want to give you some scenarios since you may be the mayor of Los Angeles. If there's another wildfire, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Well, first off, there's going to be another wildfire before I'm even the mayor. So people need to get ready now because another town is going to burn down, whether it's Brentwood, whether it's the Hollywood Hills, whether it's Bel Air. A fire is coming because Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass allow the dead brush, the dead fuels surrounding these houses. They've been there for 50 years. There's actually 45 less firefighters since my house burned down on January 7th. The list, you can go on the government site of every single thing the firefighters asked for, all denied, 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 denied. 84% of what the fire department is responding to right now is vagrant drug addict fires, whether it's on the freeway or in the dead brush next to somebody's building. So 100% before I'm mayor, there's a big fire coming. So as mayor, I will make sure that we clear the dead brush, which is a major thing. I will also work with the LA County to do a better mutual aid program to add another Chinook so we can have potentially 3,500 gallons of water versus 250 gallons in our current Firehawks. And I'll make sure we build more dip sites that are, God willing, every mile from houses. Right. This is a $20 million idea that protects $265 billion in real estate. I believe, again, private money and even insurance companies will help support this idea because insurance companies are having a real big problem and people are having a real big problem insuring their nice houses. So with more dip sites and these helicopters, we're going to be in a lot better place. I will also make sure that we don't leave smoldering hillsides for a week into a wind event and fly to Africa. And when my fire chief calls me, because I obviously won't be in Africa, I'll take the call and I won't go get drinks and we'll actually get fixed wing air support.
If you're home, I'm not sure where you're going to live if you get elected, and you're with your family, and a big earthquake hits, who's your first call?
Probably my deputy mayor of public safety, who will hopefully be Chief Bobby Garcia, who I've been talking to, who's the chief of the U.S. Forest Service, who I want to bring in to be the one who's responsible for real public safety, whether it's a fire or earthquake. Because right now, if there's a big earthquake, we don't even have a helicopter that can remove more than 12 people from a collapsed freeway. We need one of these Chinooks that I've been talking to with Wayne Colson, who owns them. We need one of these that can remove 40 people away from a freeway that goes in. We won't even be able to get anything to certain places. So these are things that, again, when I'm mayor, it's not gonna be overnight. We need to be preparing for the next 10 years of a black swan event, whether it's a terrorist attack that could be coming for the Olympics. We need to have these plans for a mass casualty event that is not being trained up right now. There's no mutual aid between the Sheriff's Department, U.S. Forest Service, Homeland Security, federal agents. This is not happening. We need to be having major drills to prepare for one of these black swan events.
If there's a voter out there, this will be the last question. If there's a voter out there who's like, can I really vote for Spencer Pratt? What would you tell them?
Again, they've lived under not voting for Spencer Pratt. They have lived under the experience of the people in power's experience. So I just tell them, we're going to stop this. It's that simple. We're done with these experienced politicians and living under what that means. So I don't have a big pitch because I'm doing it as an Angelino who's had enough.
All right. Spencer Pratt, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Yeah.
New details on that deadly chemical explosion in Washington State. A big update on the recovery efforts as investigators work to uncover what caused the tragedy. Back now with Top Stories newsfeed, starting with the ongoing recovery efforts at the site of that deadly packaging plant implosion in Washington State. Moments ago, officials saying 6 additional bodies have been recovered, with 3 people still missing. 11 people are now presumed dead. Investigators are now working to figure out what caused the chemical tank disaster. And as a heat wave scorches Europe, a stunning upset at the French Open. Tournament favorite Yannick Sinner out in the second round, losing to a player ranked 56th. During the match, you can see Sinner here bent over the clay court, appearing exhausted as temps there reached 90 degrees. At one point, he tried to cool himself down with ice. He later said he wasn't feeling well. And clashes outside an ICE facility in New Jersey continuing to escalate. We first told you about the face-off between officers and demonstrators earlier this week. Overnight, new chaos erupting, agents with batons deploying tear gas against protesters who've been gathered for days amid reports of dire conditions inside the detention center. But federal immigration officers deny claims of abuse and poor conditions. Okay, now to a different immigration center that's the subject of a new NBC News digital doc. 3 couples sharing their stories about life inside the only immigration processing facility built to house children and their families. Here's Yasmin Vesuvian with a portion of the families of Dilley detention.
About 75 miles outside of San Antonio stands a remote prison-like facility known simply as Dilley. It's one of more than 200 immigration detention facilities across the country, but the only one built specifically to hold children and their families. Access to the privately run facility is tightly controlled. Some of the last footage from inside Dilley comes from this ICE-led media walkthrough back in 2019.
Yes, 2,400 is our maximum capacity.
NBC News reviewed court records and spoke to dozens of detainees to piece together what life is like on the inside.
Когда мы приехали в детеншн, первое ощущение было, что мы находимся где-то очень далеко от цивилизации.
Приехали где-то в 2 часа ночи.
Первое, что мы увидели, скунс.
Да, первое, что мы увидели, это.
As soon as they arrive, fathers are separated from their families and only allowed to interact during the day.
Дети начали очень сильно переживать, спрашивать, почему, как, зачем. Нам уже давали одежду.
Это не то, чтобы они хотели. Понятные трусы, непонятные носки.
Detainees sleep in crowded rooms, some with up to a dozen beds, in addition to cots, couches, and cribs under fluorescent lights that often don't turn off.
Первую ночь дети в диком стрессе. На самом деле я тоже взрослый человек. Я очень пугалась.
Esos 2 meses ahí fue un infierno. Estar ahí es un infierno.
In a statement titled Debunking the Mainstream Media Lies, ICE called detention a choice and described Dilley as safe, humane, and family-friendly. But hundreds of pages of sworn testimony, along with written complaints and interviews with detainees, paint a picture of squalid conditions, abusive staff, and untreated illness and injuries.
Cuando pensamos allí, primeramente se nos viene el olor de la comida.
A veces ya se nos hacía repugnante oler. Cuando entrábamos al comedor, todo se impregnaba, hasta nuestra ropa, todo.
Мы не могли пить воду, потому что та вода, которая текла в кране, ну, это можно было отравиться. Когда это огромная столовая, в которой находится около 500 человек одновременно, вы представляете, что такое рвота там?
Desde que el compañero que estaba al lado de nosotros le sacó un gusano a la carne de la hamburguesa, desde ahí fue donde yo también, o sea, fue que dejé de comer.
The Trump administration campaigned on mass deportations.
We are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day.
Mass deportations means mass arrests and mass detentions.
Any client that we have spoken to has told us.
Ilora Mukherjee is a Columbia law professor and runs one of the nation's leading immigrant rights clinics. She has represented more than 80 people at Dilley. None of them have a criminal record. She says Dilley's harsh conditions are by design.
A pillar of their mass deportation agenda is self-deportations, literally making conditions in immigration detention facilities so unbearable that people give up their cases.
Every family we spoke with told us they were repeatedly pressured to give up their asylum claims.
Cuando nosotros entramos a Dilley, nos dijeron que nuestra salida más rápida era una autodeportación.
Federal courts say kids can't be held in immigration custody for more than 20 days. But in 2025, court-appointed monitors found the Trump administration kept more than 900 children past that legal limit.
Мы с Костей спали вместе, потому что он от меня не отходил ни на шаг, он боялся. Он просто лежит и говорит: «Мама, а мы плохие?» Я говорю: «Нет, сынок, мы хорошие».
Fue un momento muy difícil, pidiéndole a Dios que por favor que salvara a mi hija.
И он обкрутил эту веревку вокруг шеи. Он не улыбался, он не смеялся, это не была шутка. «Мама, я не хочу жить».
Мы здесь находимся в таких искусственных, созданных условиях, чтобы люди здесь психологически ломались.
Просто это было абсолютно бессмысленно. Да просто для чего это было? Чтобы испортить детям психику.
У них это получилось.
Ну, это получилось, да. Хулиганишь.
Now, with help from the Immigrants' Rights Clinic at Columbia Law School, all three of those families were able to leave Dilley and are continuing to pursue their asylum cases. As of March, 50 children remained at Dilley. Our thanks to Yasmin for that report. For more on this story, go to NBCnews.com. The full doc, The Families of Dilley Detention, is available exclusively for NBC News subscribers. You can scan to watch now. Still ahead right now on Top Story, never-before-seen images from the Holocaust, where they were discovered and how they are reshaping the history of one of the worst atrocities the world has ever seen. We're back now with the never-before-seen photos of the Holocaust, giving us new insight and bringing more historical context to those atrocities. These photos from May 14th, 1941, chronicle the first mass arrest of Jewish people in Paris during the Nazi occupation of France. It was known as the Green Ticket Roundup because during this time, thousands of Jewish men were summoned by Paris police with green slips for what they believed was an ID check. You can see each stage from German and French authorities meeting to confused families lining up outside, men being loaded onto buses and trains, and eventually arriving at an internment camp. These are just a few of the 98 photos acquired by the Shoah Memorial in Paris for a new exhibit. I want to bring in Jean-Marc Dreyfus, a Holocaust historian and the co-curator of the exhibition. Jean-Marc, we thank you for joining Top Story tonight. The fact that these images survived all this time is remarkable. Talk to me about what you thought when you started looking at them.
Yes, it's an extraordinary series of photographs, and their very existence is an event. It's very extraordinary. They have been found out by collectors photo collectors on a flea market in the city of Reims, near Paris. And then these collectors identify these extraordinary photos in a series of 2,000 photos. They brought them to the Shoah Memorial in Paris, and they have been identified, they have been studied by me and other colleagues, and also they are now used to find people, to give names on the faces that we can see on those photos.
And the images were taken by a photographer for the Nazis, meant to be used as propaganda. Give us some more of that context of what you learned after they were uncovered.
What is extraordinary is that we could identify the photographer. So his name was Harry Kroner. He was a photographer from Berlin, and he was wearing a German uniform. So he was embedded into the Wehrmacht, the German army, occupying Paris. So his task was to document day by day, almost hour by hour, the occupation of Paris. So he was commissioned to take the photo. He was invited, and we can see on the photo that he was very close to the Nazi leaders, on the photo. He could approach them. He could approach Theodor Dannecker, we can see on some photos, and Dannecker was the envoy of Adolf Eichmann in Paris, in charge of organizing the Holocaust in France.
It's striking as I'm as I'm looking at some of these photos, it's so striking for a variety of reasons. One, we know eventually what's going to happen to all these people, right? The uncivilized, the sinful, just evil act that's going to happen. And yet these photos show the process as people being civilized in the sense that they are moving along, they are lining up somehow, they are marching off to death camps, a lot of them not knowing what's going to happen. This one stood out to me. Jean-Marc, I don't know if you can see it, but it's a wife, we believe, kissing her husband. And then there's another photo, yes, the wife kissing her husband here. What do we know about this photo? Because we think this could be the goodbye, right?
It's the goodbye, the final goodbye of this couple. We have not identified them already. We hope that one day we'll put names on those faces. This photo is extraordinary because, of course, it reminds us many French photos of Paris, of the lightness of Paris, the city of love. But this photo, this embrace, watched by the French policeman, is extraordinary. I'm sure this photo will remain as an iconic photo of the Holocaust in France.
There's another photo. Yes. There was another photo I want to show you too. I want you to talk to our viewers about it, where a woman seems to be confused, right? And it's of the photos that we have that you've shared. It's the one where maybe someone realizes this is not right. There is something wrong going on here, and I'm scared. It's the woman she looks like to be speaking to a Nazi officer or a police officer. What do we know about that one?
So what we know it's that this operation was carefully organized and conducted, and it was a trap. So as you said rightly, those people were summoned by a notice by the French police for identity document check. And then they were asked to come with their spouse, with their wife, and with children. That's why we see so many young children on the photo. Once they enter it's a sports hall, this one, in Japy, still exists, exactly the same building till today in Paris. They entered the building, their documents were taken, confiscated, and then they were given another note saying, you have to send your spouse back home for her to bring some stuff you will need for 3-4 days of internment. And then the man could not go out of the sports hall. It was a trap, carefully organized, very perverse trap.
So sadistic. So sadistic and so evil. And that leads me to my next question, Jean-Marc. Talk to me about the importance of doing this exhibit at a time where the last generation of Holocaust survivors is dying. They're just too old. And we are seeing a rise in anti-Semitism around the world.
Yeah, we hope that these photos will, fight anti-Semitism. It's a hope, Those photos are also very important for history because we see what we already knew thanks to the documents and to the few survivors' testimonies, It was the first step of mass arrest of Jews in Paris in 1941. There were 2 more mass arrests in 1941, and in 1942, The women and children that we see on the photos that were not arrested in May 1941, they were taken in the famous roundup of the Veldiv and then deported to Auschwitz.
And then
so those photos are
before we go, I do want to ask you. You're a Holocaust historian. I'm sure you've seen tens of thousands of photos like this, each telling a different part of the Holocaust. When you saw these photos, what did you think? What went through your mind?
There are not thousands and thousands of photos. You know, the Holocaust was covered up. It was the best kept secret of World War II. So this series is very extraordinary because it's unique. We don't have similar series of mass arrest of Jews. My feeling I was stunned. I was completely amazed by the quality of the photos. The photos show the process, the administrative process, but they also show the pain, the fear of the victims. They are very sensitive. They are very humane. They are humanist photos. Probably that's why they were taken, but they were never published. They were never used by Nazi propaganda because they were too good.
Jean-Marc Dreyfus, I thank you so much for joining Top Story tonight. We invite people to check out that exhibit if they visit you there in Paris.
Thank you.
And we will be right back. Finally tonight, an unconventional rescue in dangerous floodwaters. A crew of Indiana firefighters jumping into action to save an especially small member of the community. Take a look.
A flooded street and a courageous rescue. That's Captain Joe Sinclair, a firefighter in Morgan County, Indiana. You can see him battling the fast-moving water. First responders were on the scene helping a person trapped in a car after a storm when they heard the cries of a baby deer. But they knew they couldn't leave it behind. Captain Sinclair braving the floods to catch the baby deer, carrying it to safety with the help of his team.
But once I got my footing and I lined up with the baby deer, I knew that she was coming to me. We took on a little bit of water, but you know, we got her out. So everybody was just at the right place at the right times. I'm sure she was relieved just as well as I was.
The firefighters taking the deer to a local animal shelter.
Still kind of trying to take it all in. It's a good story. It's a good outcome.
Proud of their unexpected save.
I feel like any rescue is part of my job description, you know, no matter what it is.
All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. We thank you so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.